So I'm watching a Top Gear thing. It's the episode where they have their moms testing out cars for them. They're talking about speeding tickets, and May's mom has 2. And they're like, that's more than May has gotten in his entire life. And I'm just thinking about a buddy of mine who his grandparents gave him a 86 Monte Carlo when he turned 17 as his first car. It was sitting out out behind their house. They had a bunch of cars out behind their house that they were giving to all their grandchildren and whatnot. So they gave him an 86 Monte Carlo, and I knew my friend very well. And I'm like, they just gave him an 86 muscle car. Huh. I wonder how long it's going to take him to get a speeding ticket. That was my first thought when I heard that my buddy Joe was given a Monte Carlo. I was surprised to find out that it took him a month to get a speeding ticket. I was not surprised, however, that it only took him a week and a half to get a ticket for spinning rubber off of a traffic light. Took him a week and a half. He was sitting at an intersection, had a friend of his in the passenger seat, foot to the floor, held the brakes, spun the tires, set off, blaze of glory, didn't realize there was a cop coming down the road next to him. Not next to him, but on the road that he was turning onto.
Right.
He turns onto the road, cops immediately behind him, sees him trailing smoke, flips on the lights. First ticket, aggressive driving. Took him a month to get a speeding ticket, which I was proud of him for.
Alright, you need to slow down a little bit.
The fastest speeding ticket that one of my friends has gotten when it comes to like getting their driver's license and then getting a ticket was one of the kids that I know, Dylan. He drives a really shitty Chevy pickup truck, and he got a speeding ticket 3 days after he got his license. His father then took his license away for a month. Which was really funny. Shows up to school for 2 days with his truck, bragging all about it. And then third day rolls around, comes into school, knocking around about his truck, leaves. Fourth day comes around, he's bumming a ride off my buddy Kyle. And of course, me being the good friend that I am, and me and him are always arguing, I walk up to him and I'm like, Dylan, where's your truck? You already crashed it? It's like, no, I didn't. I was like, no, what the fuck you talking about, Cameron? I didn't crash it. Then where's your truck? Got a speeding ticket last night. Your point? My dad took my license away. I was pretty sure he was about to punch me over how hard I was laughing. I'm near positive I was about to get punched if I didn't shut my mouth when I did. Now, of course, I've never gotten a speeding ticket in my truck. I've only gotten one speeding ticket, and I've never crashed my truck, but I've crashed my Subaru twice.
I've done the above.
Well, aren't you perfect?
No, I'm not perfect. I just make other people think that I'm not perfect.
Oh, shit.
Did you by chance miss a turn?
No, I didn't miss a turn. Okay, it's just up the road. I have 17 gallons of fuel left.
Yeah, go ahead and wait there. I'm low on fuel too.
Okay.
I mean, I still have 57 gallons, but that's lower than I'd like.
Yeah.
Now we'll actually see just how far behind you I was.
Well, I am doing 100, just passing the... No way. I'm pretty sure this is the gas station that we pulled into when I was doing Ultimate Coast.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
near,
in the right area.
I'm near positive this is Ultimate Coast gas station.
Is that what it's gonna be known as now?
Let me check my map. Come on, map, load for me, please. Napoli. Canzaro's back there. No, we passed it already. Because it would have been after Catanzaro. Oh, wait. Canzaro, I passed one fuel station. You said next fuel station isn't for what? No, I'm wrong. I think this is the gas station.
Yeah, I think it is. I'll have to look at the map myself. Be sure that it is.
I'm like 96% positive this is the gas station for Ultimate Coast. It's weird because I'm not going 55 miles per hour down these roads, so they don't look the same. Yeah.
Alright,
I
let me
will
look at my
admit.
map real quick.
All right. But what I was going to say was, because I was talking about speeding tickets and I said I had one, I will admit that one speeding ticket that I got, I was not in any vehicle owned by any member of my family. I was actually in my boss's car. So I was working for a landscaping guy. I had 2 trucks and a little old Saturn wagon, and that was the tools vehicle. Now, I usually got stuck with the Saturn because my boss never let anybody drive his truck, and then the work truck was normally driven by my coworker. So I usually got stuck with the Saturn because he didn't want me racking up. He didn't want me to pay for my truck's fuel, just because I would use up more or something. There was a reason he had behind it. It was one of the few like generous moments my boss actually had. When it came to me. But I was driving the Saturn. He was over in Syracuse with my coworker. He was doing God knows what. I think it was at a bar or something. My coworker was heading towards the job. The only thing is, he hadn't told me what job I was going to. He said, "Wait for me to call you. If I don't call you, go to the church." Now, not only had I not received a call yet, and I needed to know where I was going, but I also didn't know where the church was. Because he just said, the church. I'm heading into the center of Syracuse, and there are like 16 churches. Now, I did learn that there was only one church that we did lawn care for, but I didn't know where it was. It was the first time I'd ever driven to it. So I'm going down this old twisty back road that we call the Gorge. It's really like State Route 174 or whatever. Everybody from Marcellus calls it the Gorge because it goes through one of the valleys around here.
Mm-hmm.
And that has a 45 mile per hour speed limit. And then when you get to the next town over, there's a blind corner and then it goes down to 30. And the police like to sit right around there because people like to come flying off the Gorge at 70 and right into there, and they choose not to slow down until they get to the next intersection.
Right.
And there just been a guy who sadly passed away on his motorcycle because he lost control and hit a guardrail. So they were staking out that area. So I'm stuck in my thoughts, and I'm just following the vehicle in front of me, doing whatever speed they're doing. I'm stuck in my thoughts trying to think, okay, where the hell am I supposed to go? And I'm planning out routes in my head. And it was only as I looked over to the right for some reason, I see a cop sitting right on the side of the road, right where I'd seen him all week. And I looked down at my speedometer. I was already well into the 30 area. I looked down at the speedometer, 46.
Oh.
Shit. The guy in front of me hadn't slowed down either. So I hadn't slowed down. So I'm like, shit. I knew immediately that I was going to get hit. But I keep going, and I'm like, I get nearly a block away from the cop, and he hadn't pulled out yet. And I was like, holy shit, was he not in his car? Am I gonna get away with this? Just as I'm getting to the intersection thinking I got away with this, cop pulls out. Shit. Comes up behind me. I get to the next intersection that I have to take a left at, and he still hasn't switched his lights on. And I'm sitting in the car. He's right behind me. I'm like, you know you want to pull me over. Just fucking pull me over already and get this over with. Stop leaving me in suspense. I go another 2 blocks up from that intersection before he finally switches his lights on and pulls me over. Now, the ticket that I should have gotten was a 4 points on your license ticket. Now, me and my mom didn't know this at the time because my sister never got a speeding ticket in her first 6 months of driving. I don't know how it is for Virginia, but up in New York, they have a rule that in the first 6 months of driving with a restricted license, which is what we call the 17-year-old license before you turn 18.
Ours is restricted as well.
Okay, I don't know. So in the first 6 months that you have your restricted license, if you get 4 points on it, it's revoked. And it's revoked for a period of time. I think it might be until you're 18. So if in the first 6 months you get 4 points on your license, you have it revoked. Now we didn't know that. I got lucky, and I was trying to go to work. I explained it's my boss's car. I'm trying to figure out where the hell I'm even going. I'm 17. I've had my license for 4 months. I've got nothing on it, and
What?
I'm a good, and all this other crap and whatnot. I didn't say a lot of this. I just said, it's my boss's car. I'm trying to get to work. I'm sorry. I was just following the car in front of me. He didn't slow down. I know that's not how you do it, but this, that, the other thing. My heart was beating out of my chest. Cop walks back, gets in his car, writes me a ticket, comes back, and he said that it was for disobeying a speed device, this speed limit sign, which I would later find out is only a 2-point ticket for your license. So I'm like, me and my mom later found out when we were talking to the guys who got that ticket knocked off my license, that if I had gotten that full 4 point, I would have had my license revoked. And I'm like, holy shit, that cop just saved my life. So, with just one mistake, because I was trying to go to work and my boss hadn't told me where I was going, I was out $370. Most of that went to paying off the ticket. It was like a $250 ticket plus like $100-something lawyer fee. So that sucked. I only drove like a grandma for a week.
Speaking of speeding, do you think you could stop doing that for a little bit?
Yeah, I'll back it down.
Yeah, I can't think of any good actual speeding ticket stories, but I do think of this one story my dad told me that's kind of funny. This was actually last year, I think. We go to Virginia Beach every Thanksgiving.
Right.
Because it's my parents' anniversary, and it's the off-season, so it's really cheap and all this sort of stuff.
Right, we do a similar thing.
Yeah.
Just not at Thanksgiving, but similar time.
So, at the moment, we have a timeshare down there. And
right.
Our timeshare is Thanksgiving week, usually. It wasn't last year, and it's not this year, because of the way leap year and everything.
Oh, alright.
So usually my dad goes down and spends the whole week down there, and my brother, my mom, and I all go down on Wednesday after my brother and I are out of school and she's done with work.
Right.
But the way What?
You guys start Thanksgiving week on a Wednesday. You only get like partial week for that.
Yeah.
We get a full week.
Well, good for you. So anyway, this week, because of how it was different, my brother, my mom, and I all went down on Saturday, and my dad had something he had to do, so he was coming down Saturday night. And then my dad left with me and my brother on Sunday, and we stayed up here all week, and then went back down the next weekend to finish off.
Oh, right.
So I want to say it was, I don't remember when it was exactly that it was happening. I think it was when he was coming down, because I want to say the thing he had to do the Saturday night was on the way to the beach anyway.
Oh, right.
I think it was when he was going to that this happened. But he was on the highway, he was in his pickup truck, and traffic had slowed down in the congestion area, and when it started speeding up, he was just running with traffic, and he eventually noticed that the truck was starting to sound weird. So, and we've been having various problems with the truck messing up and such.
Right, so that just happens.
So he thinks, oh, please tell me this truck isn't messing up again. He looks down and he's doing 90.
So, that reminds me of something that happened to my sister. My sister used to do semi-professional cheerleading.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was a cheerleader in high school and then went on to do it afterwards for a little bit. And her and my mom were driving to a competition in Connecticut, I think it was. And they were on because I think it was the Connecticut Turnpike. It was the something Turnpike. I'm like 90% positive it was the Connecticut Turnpike. And everyone around them, it's a 65-mile-per-hour road. Everyone around them doing like 85, 90. And my sister she didn't have a restricted license yet. She was like 16 and a half. So my mom had to be in the car for her to be even driving.
Right.
So my mom's just like, follow the traffic. Why not? So they're doing like 87, just cruising around, getting passed by people left and right. Cop rolls up behind him, switches on his lights. And my mom was pissed. My sister's sitting there freaking out.
Right.
Because she's not even 17, she's driving and just got pulled over for doing 20 over. She's sitting there freaking out. My mom's mad that they were the ones who got pulled over when they weren't even the fastest in that general area.
Northern accent coming out.
Yeah, it's that general area. But
see, they were speeding in the car.
They were speeding in the car in that general area. But and the cop was a bit of an asshole to him, but they were able to talk him out. Yep. Ah.
That's why I had to get over.
Apparently I didn't get over enough. I thought I had.
I think that neither of us really reacted quick enough.
Yeah, I think the sleep deprivation is getting to us.
Yeah.
Only 1,300 miles to go. We've already covered 600.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Well, yep. 700 for me.
But, they were able to talk him out of giving her a ticket, and that was all my mom would talk about for the next like hour was how freaking annoying the cop had been. So that's always the story, that because my sister hasn't gotten a speeding ticket, so that's always the story they tell whenever tickets come up, is how they got pulled over when they weren't even the fastest on that piece of road at that time, and they got pulled over and the cop was an asshole to them. Can't win every single one. Kind of funny though.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the law, at least in Virginia, is sort of vague in that sort of circumstance anyway. Because the law is run the speed limit or with traffic. So if the traffic's all running above the speed limit, then do you run above the speed limit?
Right.
Because then you're running with traffic.
Exit.
Yep. My truck's at 20 damage, by the way. I appear to still have all my gears. Yeah. Bouncing off the walls back there.
Yes, because I'm distractedly driving. And driving tired.
So you're distracted driving tired. Right? Mm-hmm.
Apparently so. I'm having a little trouble catching up. Oh, engine malfunction. Screw off. I'm getting the draft off of you. I'm going to slingshot past eventually.
Yeah, you gotta find room first.
Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. I'm coming in on the inside. Don't force me into the guardrail, you
That's
get...
the outside. You said you were coming in on the inside, so I went to the outside.
No, that's the inside of the next corner. I'm going to Verona, and not only did you damage my truck 50%, you 100%ed my trailer.
Not that we really care about that anyway. I'll meet you in Verona.
Asshole.
That was the outside.
That was the inside of the upcoming corner.
No, that was the outside.
The right is always the inside.
Not in NASCAR.
Yes, but NASCAR's always going left.
Exactly. Therefore, the right is never the inside.
Yes, but it was a right corner coming up, so I said I'm going to the inside.
It was not. It was hardly a corner at all. This was a mistake.
Way to nearly tip yourself.
Thank you. That's why I have a tipper trailer.
Oh, that's too funny.
What?
I'm watching the episode with the James and the car that they made for old people, and they were trying to go the wrong way down the motorway, and car explodes, and was like, "I've wet myself again."
Oh, for crying out loud, easy. My room smells like diarrhea. I didn't say anything at the time because you were telling the story, but it was really foggy back there.
Yes, it was. the snow that was coming down that was really doing it.
I did actually fill up on fuel, right?
Yes.
Because I'm down to about a third of a tank again.
As am I.
I guess I'm just not used to how quickly these trucks go through fuel.
Especially on a long drive like this. I mean, we've nearly done 1,000 miles.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even how quickly they go through fuel, it's just how small their tanks are.
Right. I want to go drive my truck. My actual truck. But I can't. Even if it wasn't for the fact that I'm not allowed to drive after 9. Can't drive my truck. And I'm upset about that. I'm sorry, there's just always something about the first car you own.
It wasn't Casey. Who else would have made this stink like that? Timothy. Well, he needs to stop eating whatever we're feeding. Oh, this is like a cool bridge. Thank you, by the way. What's this? Yeah, but I'm actually getting closer to it.
What? Brakes, please stop. Whoa.
Is there a thing?
Yes, there's a toll coming up that I nearly didn't stop for because my Renault immediately jerked left.
I might have to pull off early.
Huh? What was that?
I said I might have to pull off early.
I think I'm with you on that one. There's a fuel station up here. I think it might be time for us to, call it.
Yeah, oh, that was not the gear I wanted to go into. What? Nah, we're stopping. Yeah, just a second. For some reason, I felt like my blinker was still on. It's not.
Yep, I think this is where we are going to be calling it.
Yeah, where's the parking area? Oh, it's back there. What a horribly designed truck stop.
Right?
Where is it? Is it over here? Oh, it's right here. You can't even see it through the snow. It's not the right range.
Well, that was definitely a long night of driving.
Yes, yes, it was. Say goodbye to the video. Stopping in 3, 2, 1.